In the last video I did, I told you I was going to introduce you to some accounting software, and here it is. What we're looking for is an accounting software that can walk through the general journal and tell us things about our spending habits based on queries that we give it. It's really old-fashioned and quite useless to post debits and credits from a general journal into a general ledger. What we will do is focus on maintaining a good general journal, and then we'll use an intelligent accounting software simply to walk through that general journal and give us the information based on commands that we tell it. Now, the accounting software Ledger is the tool. It is a command line program that runs under DOS, under different versions of Unix. I've run it quite successfully under FreeBSD. It was designed, and a lot of people who use it run it under Mac OS. It also runs under Linux, the Debian, and Ubuntu. Now, I have no experience on that, but I've been told it works there. It is open source, which means it's essentially free. It has a very small footprint on the computer, so you don't need a terribly powerful computer to run it at all. And it is, as a software, probably the most powerful accounting software I've ever come across. There is a small but energetic and very helpful group that developed it, although the author, John Wigley, is the primary force and genius behind it. Now, on the screen, I've got the main page where you'll find Ledger, and you can just page down and learn a little bit about it, its features, how to get started, and mailing lists, and most importantly, where you can download it. So the download link for the Mac OS X is here, and there's one there, I think, for Windows as well, and Debian and Gentoo. Okay, so it should be there. The precompiled binaries are all there for you. Although you can get the source code and compile it yourself. Now, there is a very helpful Ledger Google group, and I lurk around that group like a beggar at a banquet, totally in awe of and quietly respectful of these code masters. So enough said. I'm going to just show you the kind of power it has. So we'll just get rid of that, and we'll bring this DOS window into focus. Okay, so I'm not going to show you how to load it and how to set up your environmental variables. I'll do that at another time. I just basically want to show you some of the power that Ledger has. It is a command line program, so you know there's a bit of a learning curve on it, but it's absolutely and definitely worth the effort. And son, I would urge you to learn how to use this. So the very first command you might want to know about is basically how to look at a very simplified balance sheet. So this command, Ledger space BAL, or you can type it out, BALANCE, gives it to you. So when we hit enter, based on the general journal that I showed you last week, and we're going to have to make some modifications to it, what this shows us is that we have assets of $20,583.40 plus this line, interestingly enough, 10 KTS. I'll come back to that in a minute. We have income of $63,948. Remember, income is always a credit balance, or ideally is a credit balance, so it's negative, and expenses of $4,620,263. So the difference between those two would be the retained earnings for the period. The equity would represent money that you guys put in, less drawings that you'd taken out. And then we have liabilities of $2,097.42. And this line, below this line, if the dollar amounts are out of balance, it'll show you by how much. So we see that we're out of balance by $105 plus 10 KTS. Now what this is, 10 KTS, is an inventory amount, the value of which I know is $105. Now this is the first powerful feature of Ledger I want to show you. What Ledger is actually doing here, it's tracking dollar amounts And it's also because we did make a journal entry, and I'll show you that after, where we actually put in units of inventory at $10.50 a unit. It will actually show us the units of inventory, but it doesn't show their cost basis. Now, if we want to see their cost basis rather than the units of inventory, we add a switch to this command, and it's the -B for cost basis. And now when we run this report, we see that the assets, the $220,583.40 and the 10 units of inventory are now $20,000, $680.40. So we added the value of the inventory, $105, to this amount to give us our assets. So when we want to make sure we have a cost base, we use a cost basis for our balance sheet, then we use the switch -B. Okay, so, but we'd like to see more detail on this chart in our chart of accounts. So let's add another switch, which will be the -S switch, and let's run the report on that. And here we start to see all of the accounts that we've set up with their balances. And first of all, under assets, we have cash accounts, the checking account, and the petty cash, and these are the amounts that are in that totaling to this. We have an equipment account with different accounts within that, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are the balances in our coffin case and our mixer, our turntable on the books at 22, 35, 26, and our CDJ 1000 at 36, 77, 84. We have another asset account, the GST that we've paid, which we're going to be able to use to offset the GST we owe, is at 12.15. And then there's our inventory of shirts at $105. Now, if we hadn't run the -B switch, what we'd be looking at there would be 10 KTS, KTS standing for Crazy Z t-shirts. And that's just a suffix that I put at the end of that journal entry for me to know what inventory I was looking at. Again, we go into the equity account, and we see that there have been 1155 in partnership draws, and there's also $3,000 in partnership interest. That's the money you guys put in to begin with. So the difference is the equity that you have of $1,845 in there, and then the rest of the equity that you have is the difference between your income and expenses for the period. Now let's go down and look at the expenses, and what we see is that we have expenses, the co-host, the DJ services. So if you'll actually see, what we've really got here are jobs. We've got expenses by jobs, and that can be very, very helpful. You know, you guys threw these parties, Crazy 1, Crazy 10, Crazy 11, and this basically shows you the expenses for each party. You also provide DJ services on a, a fee-for-service basis, and these are the expenses that you've incurred in providing those. However, it would be very nice to see what the total amount is that we spent on accommodation and flyers and photos rather than broken out by job. And we can do that by introducing another switch here. And the other switch will be --real. And I'm going to describe the difference between a real and a virtual transaction in the next video because I'm running out of time. But if you notice here now, I have gotten rid of the expenses broken out by, oh no, I haven't, have I? Yeah, I've gotten rid of the expenses broken out by jobs, and now all the accommodations expenses that we paid are here, all the casual staff that we paid are here. So this is just a teasing of what Ledger can do. It can allow you to do job costing, track income and expenses by job. It can allow you to track inventory. More on this, though, in coming videos.